Oh, got some crap on my talking points there. Ah, much better. Hey dudes, nutnfancy multi-tool review coming your way. And it's about time. I want to populate my playlist on multi-tools with ones that I really dig. High value, high utility multi-tools. They're going to be from all categories. And remember, in my video, the multi-tool continuum, I introduced what I feel are realistic evaluation categories for MTs or multi-tools. Ultralight, light, medium, and heavy duty multi-tools. I'm going to talk about two MDMTs today. That is medium duty multi-tools in the 5 to 10 ounce category. And I think honestly that most of your cutting, your utility tasks, things that you're going to be faced with day in and day out can be handled quite nicely by an MDMT. And here's two other options for you. I'm holding a blackened Leatherman Blast, and I have a silver one in the background. This Juice S2 is just there for reference. And then also in the review, we're going to be talking about its relative, the Fuse by Leatherman as well. Dudes, I love Leatherman. You know that. My reference MDMT of all time remains, I love getting this thing out. Here's my Dura-coated Leatherman Charge TI. Oh, that's so wicked. I just love this thing. Oh, you can look up my video on what a pain in the butt it was to get it to this point, but man, it sure is cool. But sorry, I'm just getting carried away with my MT fondling. Love this multi-tool. It is a reference MT for me for lots of different reasons. And it also is NDMT, kind of pushing the other side of the category, trending towards the 10 ounce weight range. But the other ones here too represent excellent options, especially if you're a soldier and looking for a multi-tool to strap to your LBE that won't weigh you down. Not always are you going to have your heavy duty multi-tool, your HDMT with you. Okay, kind of like your Swiss tool. Where did that thing go? Ah, there it is. What a great multi-tool that is. Love it. But a little bit heavy, 10.5 ounces or so. Remember we talked about all the specifics in the review. Are you going to have your multi-tool with you when you need it? Depends. Now let's start us off with my talking points. The multi-tool category, your philosophy of use. I'm going to go down, talking points. Might skip around, might forget some stuff, add it later in annotation, or maybe just totally forget it. I don't know. I'll do my best. And it'll be according to me, nutnfancy, how I see things. So I apologize if you disagree, but I think it's interesting. I think you'll find a lot of my points well-reasoned, based on experience, and some are just subjective, things that I like, and everyone has their own preferences. The category again, MDMT for this one. Philosophy of use is interesting, and we could spend a lot of time on it, but I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna knock this multi-tool review out as quickly as I can. I know I say that, but let's get cruising. I'm gonna really try. Medium duty, meaning maybe an everyday carry MT that's gonna be on your side. And dudes, you really gotta think about what is your system. I mean, you've seen that I have a Mountain Smith fanny pack that I carry with me in my civilian life. I have other carry methods in my military life and other things, depending on what kind of duty I'm pulling, that I could accommodate a tool like this. What do you do? How do you carry it? It depends. If you can take a medium-sized multi-tool with you, again, I think you're going to be well prepared for the day. Okay, more so than perhaps a light-duty multi-tool, and that's why I have the S2 Juice sitting here. It's my reference light-duty multi-tool for lots of reasons, as I've mentioned before. But your carry system will drive to the heart of whether you're going to have it with you when you need it. I said it's a great soldier's, and this is getting to POU, philosophy of use, a great soldier's choice as a multi-tool. That's because these things are not overly heavy. I'm holding the blackened Leatherman Blast, and this thing naked, that is the tool itself, is 7 ounces. Reasonable for the capabilities and the tool selection you're going to get with the Blast. The Fuse in the background, few less tools, 6 ounces. Now, when we add in the sheaths, it's going to be a little bit more, and we'll talk about the sheaths later on in the talking points. So POU, one of them is going to be a soldier's multi-purpose tool that you can work on all kinds of things, save the day, cut wire, work on your gun, you name it, you guys know. And everybody's tool selections, just like I said, in multi-tool continuum is different. And some guys will favor the pliers, some guys really need scissors, some need the file more. It just depends. And I think I already mentioned everyday carry multi-tool, or MT, as well. Paramedics, firemen, also great options for you. Police officers, and just civilian sheepdogs being prepared. These are great options, high value options. We're going to talk about that later in talking points, how high value these are for the amount of utility they're going to provide you. So MDMT, yeah, reference in a lot of ways because of the value. In other words, they won't break the bank. The materials for some might be a little bit controversial, not for me. And by that I mean they are stainless steel, just like Leatherman makes most of their tools of, but they also have Zytel inserts in them. You can see those right there. Let's contrast that construction, if I said that right, against the original pocket survival tool by Leatherman. This is mine, of course. You saw it in Multi-Tool Continuum. And you can see that those were sharp edges. And the first generation tools were not comfortable to use with the pliers. Not so cool. Problem solved with the addition of Zytel liners, which are sculpted ergonomically to fit your hand. Some guys don't dig plastic in the multi-tool. They think it's cheap. You know, it just weakens it. I don't agree. I think it's fine. Zytel plastics are very advanced, and this is a medium-duty multi-tool, okay? This is not something that I would be snapping 16 penny nails in half with. I guess I could if I really needed to, jumping ahead. Got a hard wire cutter right there at the base. Your normal wire cutter right above it in the plier head. But not really needed for that. I think it'll be adequately strong with the materials at hand. The plier head is a lot stronger than the original pocket survival tool, PST. You can see there the pivot point is much larger and the head is larger as well. Although they did retain the elegance and the overall sharpness of the plier head. I like that. So needle nose pliers, and that is just my most often used feature. I like those the sharp pliers because I need to get into places, small places that are somewhat obstructed, and I need that precision there. So materials for me are adequate. You're not going to get a premium steel in your knife blade, and this is the knife blade on the blast and the fuse. It's identical. 420 HC steel. It's a medium quality stainless steel, adequate for the roll, especially for the price point, I think. And let's compare that again against the original PST blade, and you can see it's a little bit longer right there, and comes sharp too. I like that. That is a very useful blade, and it's probably going to be one of your most used features in the Leatherman blast and the Leatherman fuse. As we've seen with a lot of different multi-tools, it is not intended to be user serviceable. You can tell by the fasteners they use here. You can probably find something to undo those with. Haven't really looked, but it doesn't have those security Torx fasteners of the Charge series, which enabled me to take it apart and properly Duracoat it like that. See those? I kind of wish all MTs have that. They don't, and that'll lead us to the talking point on tool review. You're not going to get everything with most MDMTs. You're going to have to sacrifice something. A glaring omission, at least for me, in the Blast and Fuse series is there's no awl. Okay? By way of contrast, Victorinox Pioneer knife. Okay, this is what we're talking about. That right there. We should have one of those pretty much in every multi-tool, according to me. You're not going to have it in either of these. Sorry. Wah, wah. On the other hand, you are going to get most of everything else, especially if you opt for the Blast model. Because in the Blast model, we have a saw, locking, of course. All tools are locking, and there's no tool clumping. Do you see how I deployed that? The others didn't come out with it because there's washers in between each tool, and that makes it so they deploy individually. Much preferred by me. Good saw. I guess you could use that as a hook disgorger if you wanted to. And I love this. A lot of guys don't care. That is a small bit driver, Phillips and regular screw for eyeglasses and other fine fasteners that it might fit. That's excellent. I love it, love it. And the Charge has that as well. Next up, small screwdriver. And look at the length of the shank, if I can speak, the length of the shank. A little bit longer, especially than the Charge. That's one downside of the Charge series. Have very stubby driver sets. There's your large flat-bladed screwdriver, not hollow ground like we saw in the Super Tool 300. I'll do a separate tabletop on that eventually. We already showed you the blade. It is the clip blade, 420HC steel. Again, talked about it. Don't need jimping on a multi-tool. Thank you very much. And then we have the can opener. Adequate. I still prefer the Victorinox can opener. I've told you guys that lots. And then a very well designed Phillips driver. Long shank again. Decent. And I do like this blackened version, by the way. The black oxide. Very cool. I think some users have complained that the black oxide rubs off in their hands. I haven't seen it. Not with the use of lots of multi-tools, to include the original PST you see here. I've never had that rub off, and these other ones either. Here comes another controversial tool, the scissors. The reason they're controversial is because they're so tiny in the blast, and the fuse has them too. Compared to, again, the light-duty Leatherman S2 Juice. Again, a reference tool. Love it, but I have shown you guys these many times. Let me show you them again. Why didn't they do scissors of this size? Okay, in both of these tools. Don't know. Could they have fit it? Yeah, I'm thinking they could have. There's plenty of handle space in there. Well, maybe not plenty. I stand corrected. Let me be honest here. As I fold the plier head, you can see that it has to fit in this area right here. So maybe there's our answer. In order for all the pieces to fit, engineering-wise, they had to go with the smaller scissors. They might have fit something bigger in there, but some guys just are very disappointed with the size of those scissors. One thing I have found, though, is these things can cut a lot, including leather and heavy fabric. I know because the charge scissors are basically identical, and I've used those a lot for some heavy-duty cutting. And at least you have scissors. Most of the cutting tasks that I find day to day when I need scissors are going to be small in nature. They're not huge, generally speaking, and so I'm glad to have them. And then again, the plier. We've kind of talked about the wire cutting capability. There's your jaws, and you can see the alignment of the jaws. Pretty standard. It's going to touch the tips, a little bit of gap there. Now the fuse is going to have a very similar tool set. The only thing it's going to lack, and make sure I get this right, you're going to lose three things if you go with the fuse: the saw, the file, and the small bit driver. Okay, other than that, the tool selection is identical. You can see the scissors folded there, Phillips driver, can opener, small and large flat blade, and then this thing right here, and both have it, lanyard ring. And I think some guys say, well, it'd be nice if they ditched that lanyard ring and used this horizontal space for something much more useful. Maybe like a file in this version, or in this one, how about an awl? That would be awesome, don't you think? So I'm all for that. Although you can see in this one, this is the blast. There's very little space taken up in this one by it. And here's the file on this side. Here we go. Right here. Wood and metal file, and has serrations on the bottom. Very helpful. None on the top. Okay, so that's your tool selection. Pretty basic. And again, there's a couple things you're not going to get. You're not going to get an emergency seatbelt cutter, okay, with the blast or the fuse. But you get a lot of other things, especially for the weight. And going back here, I think I already told you the blast 7 ounces. The fuse, I didn't know. 6 ounces, naked. So it's going to be lighter. That takes us to the next talking point. Access and comfort. What do I mean by access? How easily do you get to your tool set? And again, everybody's primary tool in their MT is going to differ. Some guys will want quick access to the blade, as provided by even the Juice. I mean, it's access from the exterior, right? Right here. Excellent. The charge, as you've seen also, I just showed you that access. You're not going to get that with the blast and the fuse. It is a closed traditional multi-tool. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage, and you need to determine if that's okay with you. You're going to have to open it up to access the tools just like we did with the original PST. Okay? I like it accessible from the exterior, but to me it doesn't kill the design, and I'll tell you why when we get to value. So just something to think about. As far as the accessibility of the tools themselves, again, no clumping, easily popped up by fingernail. I don't find any issues where they're going to hurt your fingers getting them out. So I find overall it's a very comfortable tool to use. Again, the Zytel contoured handles are comfortable. There's rounded edges everywhere, and the tools deploy easily. How about toughness and strength? Again, we kind of talked about that Zytel liner. Is it a problem? I don't think so, especially as an MDMT. Not at all. I think the strength in the plier head will be adequate for its role. And if you want more, then carry more weight. You know, upgrade to a Super Tool 300, a core, you know, a Swiss tool, or another heavy duty multi-tool. Just remember, it's going to be more expensive and, you know, heavier, of course. Variations, I kind of switched these talking points around, dudes, a little bit because I wanted to address that and remind myself to talk about it. The variations are as you see here. You're going to get black and oxide, which is generally referred to as the military version. Here is a blast in just regular stainless steel. Also very good looking. I like it. And either one is excellent. You're going to pay a little bit more for the black oxide version. I like them both equally. If I am a military operator or in an environment where I need, you know, low signature, this will be the one coming with me. And that'll take us a carry case. Oh, dudes, I'm totally cruising on this review. Awesome. Okay, the best sheath out there currently is produced by Leatherman right here. And this is the one that came with a blackened blast. Let me back up a little sec, just one sec. There is another multi-tool in this immediate Leatherman family that I'm not talking about, and it is the Kick. I don't prefer the Kick, going back to tool review, because it lacks so much. There's no file, there's no scissors, no small bit driver, and there's no saw, and it still weighs about 5.2 ounces. So if I go to the 6-ounce fuse, you know, I get scissors. And to me, that's worth it, and for just a few extra dollars. To me, I don't even consider the Kick as a viable alternative because of the added utility versus very little extra price paid of these other options. You with me? That's why the Kick is not represented, and that's probably why I will never put it in my multi-tool list. These blow it away for value and capability. Back to the sheath though. This one came with the Leatherman Blast, and it is outstanding. You saw it with the Super Tool 300, I think, when I did my Swiss tool review. Molly capable sheath, and it is Velcro. And some guys say, well, wait, Nut and Fancy, I thought you hated Velcro on sheaths. Well, it depends on what it's for. If it's on a large survival knife sheath, yes, I do not like it, especially when it's a 1-inch by 1/2-inch patch that doesn't have any gripping power. This is not that. One, it's a different POU. It's a multi-tool sheath. And also, they use extremely heavy-duty Velcro and a lot of it. And that should wear pretty darn good. And a multi-tool, generally speaking, is not a life or death item unless you're effecting rescue with it. With a belt cutter or something like that. But generally, I don't have to get it out super fast. I just want to secure it so it doesn't get lost. And look how that secures and rides. It is going to be a little bit heavier. Excuse me, 1.8 ounces for the Molly Leatherman sheath, but it is by far the most outstanding multi-tool sheath being provided by any manufacturer. And it came in this box right here. This one, by the way, I bought on base. And so it costs, and I'm kind of jumping ahead and talking points, $47 for the Blast. Yeah, that's a lot of multi-tool. That's a lot of sheath for that type of money. Amazing. Great sheath. Great big old drainage hole there for water. And you can use this on a regular belt as well. So excellent sheath. Now, how about the other one? And I'll use the silver Blast by way of contrast. And I also like its sheath. This is a more traditional Leatherman sheath. Okay, that you guys have probably seen a lot, and it is, you know, it offers both horizontal and vertical carry on the back. I love this sheath. It's great. I prefer the Molly, but this one is also excellent. And the advantage of this is it's very lightweight, about 1 ounce is all. Let me double check. Actually, 0.8 ounces, not even an ounce. Great sheath. The only thing it does not offer is, you know, being able to carry it in the open position like some Leatherman sheath models do, like this one here. Okay, and this is yet another Leatherman sheath model. Which one did this come off of? I forget. I might be mixing them up, but see that one? That's cool. How you can carry it like that. Also horizontal, vertical carry capable. Good, strong Velcro and a lot of it. Anyways, those are the 3 nylon sheaths, and I have 3 models here. I may mix those up, but these are both outstanding. Right here, I do prefer that Molly one. Right there. Next talking point, quality and feel, I think are excellent in Leatherman multi-tools. Some guys will say, well, it's not the same fit and finish of a Victorinox. I still like them. I find they lock up tight. There's no wiggle in the plier head at all. When you deploy the tools, they lock up solidly. They're easy to actuate. I forgot to mention that as far as closing them again. with a lock that's well designed, functional. I love them. They're fun to collect. Honestly, multi-tools are one of the coolest things you can collect as far as a dude goes, if you ask me, along with knives and guns. But the cool thing about multi-tools is they don't cost that much. For the amazing ingenuity and design elegance that they represent, they are a lot of collectability, if you ask me, for a small amount of money. And more importantly, they're useful. Again, I don't like collecting stamps or other stuff that, to me, just aren't useful. I like collecting tools, weapons. To me, I'm sorry, I do. Those are cool. I can use them. I can put them in roll at any time. So it's a double whammy. I mean, it's a cool collection, and it is a serviceable collection for my children, their children, that I can hand down, and it will connect them to me. What a cool thing to hand down to your kids, a set of multi-tools from Dad. Especially if they're worn and they've been used, in your jobs. Just cool. Quality and feel on the Leathermans is excellent. I have no problems with it at all. 25-year guarantee. Not quite as great as the Victorinox's lifetime guarantee, but you know what? I've never used or had an occasion to ever replace any of my Leathermans. Not yet. Not saying it couldn't happen, but just hasn't yet. Finally, value. I think I mentioned this already. $47 for the Leatherman Blast. Molly capable sheath, blackened. Again, these are ballpark figures, depends on where you go to get them. If you can find it at my favorite knife store, you see an annotation there, I recommend going there. But if you can't, maybe Amazon or somewhere has them. Amazing value. Scissors, a saw, metal and wood file, small bit driver, amazing. For even less money, you can get into the fuse. If you decide you don't need the saw, don't need the file, even better. And look how compact that is, how lightweight it is. This is going to be one of the lightest medium duty multi-tools out there, and extremely capable for what it is. The value on the Blast and the fuse is just outstanding. And this is another reason I'm going to put them in my best soldier gear playlist, brand new playlist from nutnfancy. Highly recommended. If you guys have this on your LBE, again, you'll save the day and it won't weigh you down. If ounces are really critical, and even 6 or 7 ounces is too much for your loadout, and dudes, trust me, I can sympathize. Sometimes that will indeed be the case. Then go with a light duty multi-tool. Again, towards my reference, maybe the Leatherman Juice S2. There you have it. Leatherman Blast, Leatherman Fuse, outstanding. MDMTs with lots of utility inside, compact and lightweight. Nutnfancy, out.